My New Land is a public visual and sound installation that talks about the immigration identity changes after they move to a new land. My idea started working with the community and people that are around with me after I moved to United States after 10 years. So my question is how actually immigrants establish their identity when they figure out their new life, and how actually they figure out their new life. So we're spending about half a year to collaborating with local organizations who working with immigrants, helping them to started to rooting down their lives here in America, especially on Long Island, and helping them to establish their life. We worked with Spanish organizations, Chinese organizations, Indian and Pakistan immigrants. So finally we find 5 people that are voted from their own people who they think they would like to represent in art projects. Working together, collaborating together with composer Margaret Schedel, we started to interview those immigrants, talking about what sound and what color represent their changes. So embedding those sound and their color and their imagination and emotion changes into the idea of immigration. We started using 3D scanning cameras and 3D rendering images to manipulate the information we have and then combine them into a layered art and visual sound piece. Can we talk about the sound part of My New Land? How do you started to think the interview can be part of soundtrack?
Yeah, when we first started talking, we were just going to have it be the inspiration. And then I think when we were doing the recording of the 3D imaging of the faces, I was like, oh, maybe we should actually have them record some phrases that show up in the piece. So the pre-interviews that we did that determined the colors and everything, then I was like, oh, actually having the people themselves speak is a lot more powerful than just sort of representing what they said in the abstract soundtrack. And then you and I figured out where in the sort of timeline that those spoken portions should happen.
So when we collaborating on this, I always amazed that when we talk about sound, how do you emotionally connect the sound of the people and the sound of their imagination and their personality together?
Yeah, I think what helped with these 5 people in particular was they were all very into nature, and so that made it easy to make a soundtrack that sort of had a continuity and a character. A lot of them talked about water. Being on Long Island, I felt like that was really important, and so that was sort of the foundation of the whole piece. The big moments of transition are defined by water, and pretty much the entire time there's like a low grounding of water that is constant, so that you can bring other elements on top and still have that continuous feeling.
Hi, my name is Arnet. I'm the executive director here at the Heckscher Museum of Art. And we were really excited to collaborate with Hanqin on her project related to My New Land for lots of reasons. One, Han is an artist who is involved, who's included in our permanent collection. So we're very proud of that. And we always like to collaborate with artists who are in our community, but especially artists who are in our permanent collection. That's always a joy and an honor. When I saw Han showed me some of the work from My New Land, it was hauntingly beautiful. And it was very exciting to think about what it might look like and be like to project that work onto the outside of the museum. And also what it might be like to engage our community in being involved in that process. It's exciting to think about how community can be involved in an artistic practice and in the creation of new work. So for all those reasons, we were excited and honored to be involved in collaborating with Han on this project. This has been such an energizing collaboration with Han, with Margaret. You know, it felt so organic to be working together and in community. And I think that we're all people who care very deeply about our community. We're also, I don't think any of us are from here originally. We've had all of us our own journey to come here. It's interesting too that some of us, many of us involved in this project, maybe are also from places that were surrounded by water. And now we've come to this other place surrounded by water. And so these elements have continued, these earth elements have continued to be part of our journeys. And I love that we, as a community of artists, have come together and we're supporting one another. And you know, at the museum, we want to be part of that community of artists and people who can support one another and make the museum a part of this space that can be welcoming to artists and to everyone who comes to Huntington and to Long Island and makes this their new home. And hopefully it can be a space where people can find one another and inspiration and art.